There it is. Welcome to the reality of quarantining. Excellent. Right, so we've got slides up and we are ready to rock and roll with this. So, welcome to our free training, My Story, Bootstrapping from Zero to Profitability in 4 months. There's going to be a couple of interactive exercises throughout. So, if you want to comment, feel free. Just check that you're going to be sending it to all panelists and attendees, not just all panelists, so that everybody can see the comment or your question, for example. Also, feel free to post questions throughout. I'm going to come to these at the end of the free training where we're going to have 15 minutes for Q&A. So it's going to be about 25-30 minutes for the training itself, 15 minutes for Q&A at the end. So as I said, feel free to post. I'll probably get to them at the end. I prefer to sort of stay in the flow and cover those at the end. First exercise. So again, check that your chat is public. Who are you? So where are you at in your product or entrepreneurial journeys? Just post in the chat, your product leader, product manager, entrepreneur, aspiring entrepreneur, for example. Awesome. Mega 6. Not sure what that means, but Pasquale, product manager. Yeah, Zora, product manager. Catherine, product manager. Aspiring entrepreneur. Joe, well, I think you're already an entrepreneur, actually, Joseph. You're not doing yourself justice there. Aspiring product leader, lead product manager. Excellent. Interesting. Good mix of people. Mega shop data, bootstrap entrepreneur. I understand what you meant by number 6. Makes sense. Interesting. So we've got a mix, mainly product focus. Another little thing that we're going to do before we jump into the real value. So as this training goes on, we're going to be running a little competition. So I'd like you to all post the following on LinkedIn if you want to join the competition and just tag me on the post. I'm just going to post a question. If you wanted to launch a new product, what would be the first thing you do? Any thoughts? Leave your comments below. So feel free to post that on LinkedIn. And what we're going to do at the end is see what interactions were there. All right, so remember to tag me on that. Just search for Henry Latham. If anyone wants to be involved in the competition. Why do you want to be involved? Well, you're going to get 1 point for an interaction. So for example, if someone likes your post, and you're going to get 3 points if somebody comments on your post. Whoever gets the most points at the end of the training, and we're going to reveal that right at the end, whoever gets the most points, and you're going to have to post the link to your LinkedIn comment so that I can see the evidence, is going to win the competition. And they're going to get a free copy of my book in ebook format, as well as 1 hour free consultancy on any product topic that you are struggling with at the moment. So I can come in, work with your team, or just work with you on a one-on-one, help you with any product career challenges you're facing. Any questions on that before we move on to the free training itself? Okay, so just post this on LinkedIn if you want to be part of the competition. You're going to get a free hour and a free ebook as well. That's a big ebook as well. It's about 250 pages. Okay, no, all good. We'll see what happens with that at the end. So a recap of what we're going to cover. So in this free training, we're essentially going to cover introduction to my entrepreneurial journey, why I approach product and business differently. It's really understanding the context here, and 7 lessons learned along the way that I think are going to help you become a better product leader and entrepreneur. Sorry, Lila, yeah. And when I mean the end of the training in 45 minutes. So we're going to have 30 minutes for the training, 15 minutes for the Q&A. We're going to wrap up then as well. No problem. Awesome. So for those who don't know me, I'm Henry Latham, founder of the Prod MBA. And to be honest, when I was planning this free training, I found myself wondering, when does a business really start? Should I start counting from the day I spent, £15 to incorporate or found the company legally, or the day I spoke to my first target customer, or validated there was interest in what I was offering, or in fact, when I made the first sale? These were questions I was thinking about, because when I talk about my journey bootstrapping a business from zero to profitability in 4 months, when I talk about really my entrepreneurial journey, the 4 months part of it is not really accurate when I really thought about it in detail, because the journey towards that moment from I started working as ultimately identifying a target customer and achieving profitability, right? And therefore securing the long-term future of the business. That really started, nearly a decade ago. And it started really when I was on a solo trip in the Brazilian Amazon back in 2012, and I decided to start my first business, Backtracking. So really to help you plot your journey, track your route, and share with other backpackers whilst traveling. And 2 months after that trip, when I got back to the UK to really start building that business, I realized I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. We made every mistake possible, driven by ego, instinct, a complete lack of product strategy, complete lack of process, complete lack of, everything. And after 2 years and a lot of failures along the way, that business failed. And in the aftermath, feeling a real lack of purpose, trying to work out what had gone wrong, I remember asking myself, what makes some products succeed and others fail? And over the last years, I've been really obsessed with trying to answer that question, working as a product consultant and a founder to understand and experiment with the factors needed for product success. And that journey has led me across, working 3 different continents and to work with countless companies in the search for answers, culminating last year in the publication of my first book, Why Your Startup is Failing. And I'd like to think I've learned a lot of lessons along the way, some of which I will be sharing with you shortly, difficult lessons. And I realized after that journey that actually really product success depends in large part on factors that are overlooked a lot in any traditional MBA or product course, or also on job requirements, right? When we're applying for a job or when we're looking for effective product managers. And really the culmination of that journey has been where I'm at now, right? Providing value by teaching others how to engineer product success as founder of the Prod MBA. So it's a 6-week hands-on training program for aspiring product managers and product owners to fast track the path towards head of product. But don't worry, it's not a pitch today. It's not really about the company itself. It's about the journey. And coming back to, asking that question initially of, okay, well, when did this already start? Although my journey towards building a successful business started nearly a decade ago, this specific business is still very young. Did it start 4 months ago? Well, not now, but from the point we started to profitability, it did. Yes and no in a way. Let me give you a bit of background on how we started, or how I started with this business. So back in 2019, so November 2019, I decided it was time to start my business. So started cutting down a lot of the product consultancy work I was doing to create the time and the focus for what this new business might be, to get out of the hourly rate cycle, to get out of the freelance cycle and really be my own boss. And I started with a hypothesis. And that hypothesis was that, it sounds funny now, but as more startups start to work remotely, so remember this was before coronavirus, still not that many companies doing it. So I was saying, the nature of HR in these companies changes. So it's moving away from office and payroll management towards professional development, mentorship, even psychological support for employees. And the hypothesis was that HR professionals are unequipped, didn't really understand how to approach this, because it's a whole different job, really. So I started from December 2019, started speaking to remote HR managers, as well as remote team managers generally, just to try and understand what's going on here. How are people handling this? And from 10 conversations with this group, it struck me that most of those interested in finding a solution were actually remote product managers. So I decided to simply scrap any hypotheses and just speak to 10 more remote product managers to understand what are the core frustrations with this group? Like, why did they reach out in the first place? Because there's generally there's a motivation if somebody's willing to give you 30 minutes of their time. And from these conversations, a new hypothesis thought that working remotely wasn't the root of the problem. Instead, it was that almost all product managers I spoke to, we use the term product owner as well, but really we're talking about product management. And almost all product managers I spoke to had stumbled into their role with no formal training, nor any support structure to guide them in what they were doing. Funnily enough, I put a poll out this week on that, how people got into product management. I think it was 87% 87, so about 90 of about 100, 110 respondees backed this up, that they had no formal training nor any support structure to guide them in what they were doing. So I had this new insight, and I carried on these conversations and started building a sort of deeper, more clear picture of the problem space over a couple of months. It's from December to February. And as I developed a deeper, more nuanced picture of the challenges product managers felt in relation to their professional development, coronavirus hit. I didn't really know what to do next. I remember, looking at, shit, do we do innovation sprints? Do I go back to consultancy work, trying to facilitate workshops? And it took me about 10 days of sort of like, what do I do? Of uncertainty, sort of lack of focus. And I remember just saying to myself, this thing is out of your control. So focus on what is under your control, on what will be true over the long term. So don't do knee-jerk reactions, and act to discover what the value might be that this business might provide for product managers, and start actually providing that value. So I committed to trying out the training program to help existing product managers and product owners level up their product skills by building a product from scratch and actually generating real revenue from that product. Because through the customer interviews and through that evolution of ideas, really over four months, I suppose, I'd realized that there were two things that we could leverage. One, that my insight that effective product leadership only comes from learning and practice, right? From my personal experience, from experiencing the uncertainty and the trials, tribulations of developing a product with little or no resources, as well as actually, going through that process yourself that I'd done as a solo founder, with no team to lean on and management to hide behind, no excuses really. You were laid bare in a way. And that a lot of learning was there. And that two, there was clearly an existing frustration with either overpriced, usually agile certifications, or overpriced courses that only covered theory, as well as a recognition that you could read all the books and tutorials in the world, but nothing replaced the reality of product and practice. In short, that theory wasn't enough. So I focused on making this program really hands-on, really practical, and a genuine challenge to overcome by getting potential customers to develop and validate a product from scratch. And because we're at the height of the Corona quarantine, I decided not to charge for the beta program, just recruiting 25 students from what I had identified as 3 different niches within the broad category of product people. So entrepreneurs, or aspiring entrepreneurs, ambitious product managers, product owners, and then the more what we call traditional career path PMs or PAs, less ambitious, let's say, and had assumptions about who would get the most value from the program, right, within these groups. And so we kicked off the first 6-week program with me literally building the program content 1 week ahead of the students. So starting with a plan, yes, but keeping it super lean to just iterate and improve every single week on the format and the content. And long story short, we did a surprisingly good job. So with 4 students generating revenue by the end of the program, high retention, we also had a customer rating of about 89% from that. We had 10 students dropping off, 8 to 10, but it was completely fine. It was actually an assumption to validate, because almost all of them came from the 1% we didn't think would understand the nuance of the program, who were maybe just looking for any certification to put on their CV, and therefore wouldn't be a good fit. So actually it was a great learning and honing, like, who is our ideal target customer. Here's a student testimonial from Antonia, who actually we've since brought in to head up our women's circle in the Product MBA. And then finally, fast forwarding to September, 6 weeks after wrapping up cohort 1, 4 months after launching the first Product MBA landing page, and we just achieved profitability. So a couple of months ago, we had a product that we know delivered a lot of value. We had a value proposition which was able to attract leads and convert some to a sale. And we had a business model that actually worked. And here is a real overview of our costs and revenue from those first 4 months. So, spending about, I say we at this point working with some freelancers as well to support me, about $1,000 spent on tools for acquisition, managing the program content, invested about $2.5K in freelancers for our mentorship program, some customer support as well. And revenue of about $19K So not a massive profit, not millions, but that was never the goal during the first year and should never really be the goal at the beginning. But the goal really is to prove that we can find a specific niche, that we can offer them a specific piece of value, that we can sell them that value, and then that we can prove that we can actually generate considerably more money than it costs us to generate, right, to sell. And generally, I'm not a big believer in long-term planning when it comes to business. I'm not at all, actually, because everything is so uncertain, particularly with the new business. But as we're moving into our third cohort, with 2 months to go, we can confidently say that we're going to double our profit margin by January. We've already closed nearly half the places for that. And I'd expect us to double that again by June 2020 as we deliver sort of more and more value and start leveraging more and more the early signs of product market fit that we're seeing, right? Word of mouth, referral, these kinds of things. So, not $1 billion company and never going to be. It's fine. It's never really been the goal. Personally, I've always defined success as having freedom of time and money, both of which are well within sight at the end of this year. And both of which I know from experience that freedom of time and money can really slip away from you very quickly if you go down the venture capital, the investment route, or if you're not clear about what success really means to you from the start. So as I said, fine from here, it's not $1 billion company. And it's early days, but we hope it continues upwards from here. So, a nice story, at least a nice one for me to tell. But what is in it for you? Right? What specific lessons would I pass on to those looking to start a bootstrap business? Or those working product looking to better identify new opportunities or looking to better take advantage of existing opportunities? Because, I think so many of these principles and lessons are not about just new businesses. Every single product, every single business has to be constantly revisiting assumptions, constantly staying lean, constantly pushing to be innovative and ward off any competition. So let's look at 7 specific lessons that I feel I've learned along the way, amongst many, that I believe will make you a better entrepreneur and a better product leader as well. Lesson 1, ego is the enemy. With my first business, Backtrack, I became so blinded by the hype surrounding the business, the interest from investors, the vanity metrics like number of downloads, the idea of playing the entrepreneur and the CEO, that I became completely lost with what really matters. That is your target customer and providing value to your target customer, as well as a knock-on to your business in the form of revenue. And, from working with other companies, I see ego driving mistakes in so many other organizations I've worked with, whether it be to spend weeks to make a feature or design absolutely perfect, or trying to scale too quickly. Maybe the founders craves the attention, the sense of success that comes from building the next big thing, or, ego driving assumptions about, knowing what your customers want, which is never the case. Or simply not listening to your team, your employees, your customers, because maybe you're just so excited and confident in what you want to build. That's ego as well. So remember, from Pasquale, great book. This is taken from Ryan Holiday's book, Ego is the Enemy. It really resonated. So remember, ego is the enemy. It will blind you to the truth and it will lead you in all sorts of merry circles. It's going to distract you, pull you away from the one thing that really matters. And that is building a product customers love and that they are willing to pay for. Lesson 2, don't hide behind plans, don't hide behind planning. Traditional MBA programs will start with some sort of business plan, or traditional starting a business, let's say. This nice 20-page document outlining the business model, the operating model, expected cost, expected revenue, clever, complex strategy for how they're going to leverage user data and artificial intelligence to generate revenue, right? All projected over 5 years with this lovely, big growth curves, huge profit margins, etc. If you speak to investors, they'll even encourage you to do this so that it gives them a sort of something a little bit more tangible and to look at those nice upward curves. Yet particularly at the beginning, but also true of existing established products with established markets. This is all one big waste of time. Like, it's a necessary evil at times to align teams. But it is a waste of time because we can never predict the outcome of our work. You can never predict the outcome of product work, particularly when we're unsure of our target customer, what value we might provide to them, how we might deliver that value. It's completely pointless making any sort of concrete projections. The only reason we do it is to sort of help the organization plan things in some way. Because each conversation with a customer, each new competitor we discover, each idea we try to validate will almost always move us radically away from where we started. Even when we feel we might deeply understand our customer already, rarely the case that you can predict that, we're going to test out this feature and you're going to see this expected outcome from it. I mean, look at the example of the product MBA, right? Our target customer was initially remote HR teams, then remote product managers, and then finally sort of ambitious product managers, product owners who feel unable to level up their career. Yet, worse than being a waste of time, and coming back to planning more broadly, any sort of detailed planning is a distraction. It can even be an emotional crutch because it provides you with this sense of control over the future that is ultimately an illusion. That provides you with this sense that you're progressing and moving towards success, maybe by measuring story points, for example, or velocity, because it feels and looks like work. I mean, it is work. It's not effective work. That is also an illusion because, instead we must simply get out into the real world with a skeleton plan. Right? We still need some plan, gather feedback, learn from the feedback, then iterate and try again. Because ultimately, if we're unable to prove that we have a niche with an acute problem to solve, that we are then able to attract that niche to an offer, then activate that niche to use our product and actually convert them to a customer, as well as finally delivering a core value to them. And we don't have a business. We just have a nice looking PowerPoint presentation. So we must obsess over achieving offer market fit, then product market fit, and cut the distraction of everything else. This is also true of existing products. It is very rare that you will be working on a product that hasn't product market fit. So you have to be moving towards that. And as I said, that means how do you attract your niche? How do you activate them? How do you convert them effectively? How do you deliver the core value to them? So, we can have a plan. Everyone's heard the plan, fail to plan, you plan to fail. Yes, don't just randomly speak to anyone and everyone when you launch a business or new venture. But your planning should be limited to really writing down just a few hypotheses. For example, what's the core problem faced by your target customer? What are you going to do to validate that? You can just put it in a Google Sheet, even a piece of paper, for example. Not a big deal. So don't hide behind your plans. They're not going to help you achieve your goals. They're just going to help you hide from the uncertainty or fear of failure that will always come up with product work. It's unavoidable. Lesson 3. Right? Remember that your job is to mitigate risk, not reinvent the wheel. We always try and overcomplicate things. We think a business or a new product must necessarily be really complex and clever to succeed. Think of Google, and it's the kind of thing that's taught in most MBAs, just these kinds of case studies. We think we need these distinct product lines funding different B2B product models that are leveraging like a B2C customer base to fuel growth, using AI and data sets and to sort of improve things, etc., etc. Yes, if you want to build $1 billion company really quickly, if you want to work at Google, for example, then yeah, sure, go and do a multi-year MBA program to look at those kind of case studies in detail. Just know that it's risky and very complex. If, however, you are a mere mortal like me and you think like, where do you even start with that? Then keep things simple and ultimately remember what your role as a product leader really is, and that is to mitigate risk. And specifically, that means value risk. Are you offering something people want? 2, feasibility risk. Are you able to deliver on your offer? And 3, usability risk. Are they able to access the core value of your offer? But this means when it comes to your solution, really thinking through how best to solve your customer's problem in the real world in a short window of time, rather than just jumping straight to thinking, we need an app to do this, or we need AI to do this. So if you're building a digital application, remember the impact and value created can be massive, but it can also be zero because of the long development cycles. Difficulty in getting to a point where you're viable, creating something really of value, and it's going to cost you $500K to get even to at least a fully customized basic prototype out the door. So maybe that means working on a no-code app, right? Potential high impact, low effort, or even looking at maybe an e-commerce solution, or even leveraging your knowledge as a consultant or teacher so you can rapidly deliver value, rapidly iterate, rapidly move towards profitability without getting stuck in the weeds with questions of feasibility or gathering a big team with a lot of expertise. So I'm going to come to your points after anyone that's posting questions. Another really important point specifically for bootstrapping, I have an old phone with a cracked screen. I was going to show it, I forgot it. Cracked screen, cheap bike I used to get around, and I live in a pretty small apartment compared to many of my friends. Now I earn well as when I work for others, product consultant, freelancer, very good hourly rate. But for the last 8 years, I knew that I would ultimately build towards launching my own business, and I knew that that business would take time to get up on its feet. So I've always been saving, learning how to invest, and really cutting down costs. Like here is where I worked most of last year. It's small, but we own our apartment. I don't spend money on public transport. I don't spend money on many material things. I don't particularly care for material things, apart from books, which were packed away in this photo because we have actually moved now. Point here is that, firstly, that lack of interest in materialism makes me a more happy person. But I think secondly, it's meant that I've been able to take risks because I've been able to save and therefore have the freedom to make my own decisions. Saying things like, right, I'm actually going to focus for 2020 on building a business and not worry too much about bringing in income this year. It's meant I've been able to turn down contracts in the past when they don't align with my beliefs or, with my path for personal professional growth. And in terms of being an effective product leader and entrepreneur, it's meant that I can make calm, objective choices free from fear of where the next paycheck's going to come from, or of needing to mortgage my house, feed the family, these kinds of questions. Yes, it's easier if you don't have kids, for sure. But the point still stands. It would have been easy to spend it. Would have been easy to say, we need this, we need that, we need more space, we need a better location, we need to eat out more often. But it's meant an investment in myself that has started to pay off now, in that the freedom I've provided myself has created a really strong platform for this year. And it's meant that we can now live in a nice place that we want. And as I said, I think the calm and clarity and focus that comes from bootstrapping your own life in a way has been an essential foundation for this business, as well as living a happier life. So I think it's a really important point to take away if you are looking to work for yourself at some point. Which would be 5 more minutes, by the way, on the presentation. Lesson 5, obsess over delivering your unique value. This is the most important thing to take away. The biggest threat to product success is lack of product market fit. So i.e. building something that nobody loves and isn't bothered about telling other people about. This always comes down to a lack of understanding of exactly what specific, unique value you are there to provide for your customer. Usually in almost every company I see, it's too broad a target customer. It is too broad an offer, too broad a solution, too unspecific. All of these things lead to a building really a generic product for an unspecific audience and ultimately a group of users that just don't really care about what you're offering. With the Product MBA, we've been obsessed with understanding from day one who very specifically our target customer is, to what specific value they desire, right? What do they want? What do they not want? What do they care about? What do they not care about? And how we can best deliver that value to them, right? Not trying to do everything. We don't, for example, stack the program with loads of in-depth case studies because we know you'll just watch them and forget about them. Right? We focus on practical, hands-on, collaborative learning instead. And, again, in our case, that's based on our initial research when we looked at, okay, what's the product vision going to be? Revealing this frustration of product people unable to grow in their careers, right? This stagnation, feeling a bit stuck. Kept coming up, courses, books too theoretical. People unable to practice product properly in their current role. So we crafted a product vision statement using the Product MBA product vision template to focus around flipping these problems into opportunity. So courses being too theoretical be super practical. Current role prevents good product process, opportunity, a space to experience full product lifecycle. Those are the things that we double down on. That's it. We don't try and do everything. We don't try and reinvent the wheel. We just do those things really, really well. And everything we do, positioning, packaging, product itself, those are what we focus on. That's how we judge success ultimately. And now when we actually receive feedback from our students, we focus just on our ideal target customer and double down on the things that we are doing well and things to improve on within this area that aligns with our product vision and our strategy. So again, how do we make it more hands-on? How do we make it more practical? How do we make the learning faster? These kinds of topics. We ignore the 1,000 other things that we could be focusing on. Because as I said, if we lose focus of this, we're going to end up with something generic, something that's not going to attract people, it's not going to convert people, and ultimately it's not going to deliver enough value to them for them to really care. Last two lessons. Lesson 6, focus, focus, focus. Building on the point above, you must be so laser focused on the few things that are important, whether you're launching, more so when you're launching a new business because you have such limited resources, but equally true of any product role. I only added a proper logo a month ago. We still have an old copy. The old logo is still around on some of our public pages, like here. My articles have typos, sloppy images at times, but I don't care because I just focus on shipping and delivering value. When a team member comes and says, oh, we could do this, we could do that, or, shit, you need to check there's a spelling mistake on this article. It doesn't matter. It doesn't tie into, it's not preventing us delivering our core value. And you just say no, because if I stop to worry about all the tiny things that I could worry about, I'd forgot to worry about the big things. We'd never get anything significant, impactful done, because nothing matters apart from understanding your target customer, learning how to attract your target customer, learning how to sell to your target customer, learning how to deliver a lot of value to a target customer, and then actually converting that to value for your business in the form of revenue. So if you can't do that, then all these small things don't matter. Again, they're just a crutch. They're just a way to distract yourself and draw away from the hard work you're going to need to do. Because if you deliver a lot of value, they won't care if there's a typo or if your videos aren't world class, that your branding is underwhelming. But if you don't deliver value, and a lot of value on a very specific area of value, then it doesn't matter how nice your website is, or whatever the balance of your color palette is and your brand. You won't have any customers to see it. And on that as well, just really remembering the value of compounding interest. So when it comes to iterations and improvements, slower you're running an experiment, reviewing the results, learning what happened and trying again, the slower your path to profitability or growth, right, in an existing product. So if you forget the little things, focus instead only on what matters, and you move far quicker towards whatever that goal is, whether that be customer growth, product market fit, or specifically profitability in the case of a small company. Finally, last lesson, returning to first principles. I'm actually annoyed with myself for even having written this, but here you go. Back in March, whilst I was still exploring these sort of possible offers, solutions around product management generally, I wrote the following in my daily journal. Quote, "It would be too hard to differentiate us with a product management course. Not enough high impact with a course." Because when I thought of a course or any sort of training, I imagine what all my students imagine before the product. You pay a lot of money to watch a load of overly theoretical videos on product that you'll never act upon, or things that are taught by some guy at Facebook, Google, who works in a sort of an ideal product world, right? Product-led organization, cross-functional teams, clear OKRs, etc., etc. But when I caught myself, and thinking and reviewed my thinking, I remember simply asking myself, well, what does it really mean to learn? Returning to first principles, what does it really mean to learn? What is the desired outcome we look for with a course when we pay for a course? And it became clear that, the core motivation for most people signing up for a course or some sort of education is not because of the fact it has videos that's even offered by an accredited university. They sign up because they want experiential learning. They want to understand what they should be doing as a product leader and actually experience what that is like in practice. They want to truly feel like they are growing. And that made me realize, we don't have to offer a course. We don't use the word course deliberately. We need to offer a true experience and shape the solution, true experience, and shape the solution accordingly, leading to this unique approach where we have individual hands-on work combined with mentorship and peer support, where you're iterating, putting things into practice every week that we have in the current format of the program. So again, returning to first principles, really just thinking, okay, ignore what's out there. It's why we only talk about competition in week 3 of the Prod MBA. Ignore what's out there. Just think objectively, what do people want? and what beliefs might be holding them back. So just to recap those before we wrap up. Ego is the enemy. Right? Whatever you're doing, whatever it is in life, that's the thing that's really going to handicap you. 2, don't hide behind planning. It is a crutch and it is an excuse. Focus on delivering value. 3, your job is to mitigate risk. Don't try and reinvent the wheel. Don't try and be too clever too quickly. You can always do that in future. Right? Netflix started as a simple video delivery service. They then went into this incredible AI-driven platform. Start simple. 4, mitigate personal risk. If you are thinking of bootstrapping a business, even if you are not, learn how to save money. Learn how to cut back so that you give yourself the freedom to, maybe hold off on taking a job you know is not the right one for you, but because you need the money this month. Give yourself that little bit of freedom. Difficult at the moment. Every person's situation is unique, but try and have that mindset in mind long term. 5, obsess over delivering your unique value. What are the 1 or 2 things that your customers really care about? Forget everything else. 6, focus with your time, with what you focus on in terms of what the customer wants. Right? Most stuff doesn't matter. Most stuff, you look back over what you did last month, 1 or 2 things you remember that you go, wow, that actually had an impact. And finally, return to first principles. So really give yourself the space and trigger that sort of thinking of what do people objectively want? Why do these things exist? What beliefs are there existing? Do they make sense? So on that, I'm going to be sending out as well some specific tools and tactics I developed to really, the path that we've managed to get through the Prod MBA. So I'm going to send through some of those frameworks, some tactics as well over the next 2 days. But, I think with those, I always ask this question at the end of the trainings. I would bet good money that only a handful of you will actually write these lessons down or open up that email tomorrow. And maybe 1 or 2 will actually go and apply the frameworks I send out in your product work. Congratulations if you do. Problem is, theory is easy. Watching a video, watching a talk like this is very easy. Practice is hard. But putting your ideas into practice, making the rubber meet the road is where you're really going to start to see progress, start to create value. For those you're seeking to serve, you're the customers that are paying you money in many cases to deliver value for them. So if you do want to learn in practice the product playbook we use to develop a product from scratch towards validation and profitability, and actually experience what that journey is like in practice outside of your company, then feel free to book a call with me to learn how to make that happen. I'm going to post that link on the chat as we just do 5 to 10 minutes of Q&A. So I said, if you're interested in learning more, feel free to post. I'm just going to share this link and then we are going to jump into some Q&A. Okay, so feel free to post any questions. We're going to jump into Q&A. So I've just posted that Calendly link there. And let's see what we've got. Who have we got? Okay, awesome. I'm going to start with, who have we got? Okay, Lila. So your first business was based on what I assume was a passion of yours, backpacking. The approach for the product follows more looking for product market fit. Do you think we should let go of the idea of focusing our business on what we're passionate about or fall in love with whatever niche we discover? I.e., do we follow our passion or do we look for pain points? This is a book-worthy question. We talk about this a lot in week 1 of the Prod MBA actually, because it comes up a lot. There's pros and cons, like with everything. So if you are following your passion, on one hand, you are going to be more motivated. You're going to stick with it when it's difficult because it will be difficult. On the other hand, it can blind you to understanding the core of the problem. And that is very dangerous. I think that on balance, you don't need to fall in love with it. It's about really realizing you're providing value to people. I think that's where the core motivation is. That will happen if you start delivering value to people. And therefore, again, problem with passion is you're going to be blinded, and it's going to blind you to understanding what are the true pain points. Do they exist? Are they acute? I think if I were to give blanket advice, I would suggest that you start by identifying not just a problem, but an acute problem and going from there. The biggest risk is going to be value risk, right? not offering something that people already care about. That's the big risk. And it's hard to get that right first time with passion. So you could start with a niche that you're passionate about, product management broadly, be very open and very, very agile in the true sense when it comes to what are you going to offer them. So we call this the minimal viable offer. Like, what's that statement of value? And then finally, when it comes to the prototyping and offering a full solution there. So it depends, but I would say obsess over the niche. Exactly as I did. You know, like I had no idea I'd end up in product management actually. See where the customer leads you, see where your target market leads you. Yeah, perfect. Thanks so much, Lila. Alexander, like the term offer market fit. Yeah, this is a massive issue I have with minimal viable products. It doesn't in theory, but in practice, people tend to practice minimal viable offer where they jump straight to a solution. If you cannot attract and activate a target customer to your offer, which is just a statement, for example, we help product managers, product owners. Sorry, we fast track product managers and product owners to head of product. That's our offer statement. That is the only thing that matters at first. After that, you'll work out what solution to offer them, but you need to solve that problem. Like, what do we offer them? How do we know that it's something people are interested in? It's really the process that we go through in week 1 and 4, because there's no easy answers for that, right? You have to just learn through practice. Final question before we jump into seeing who won the competition. So from Alejandro, sorry, on that, feel free to post now your LinkedIn. If you post on LinkedIn, post that on the chat, and I will come back to that in a minute. And we're going to wrap up just in 3 minutes or so. So final question from Alejandro. I completely agree with you that ego and vanity are the enemy, but there are problems that generally require outside investment in order to be solved. Do you recommend that aspiring entrepreneurs first become knowledgeable in building a product inside a business, and only after they succeed, aim at more complex problems that may require a cross-functional team and investment? It's a great question. I take the piss of, I criticize complex business models, right? What we call modern digital business models, like Google, good example, Netflix as well. They are hugely successful, but they're difficult, very difficult to execute on. Therefore, it's really about your strategy. So you have your vision, right? So for example, Netflix, that would be ultimately like bring entertainment to the world. I think it's similar to that. The strategy, though, is what's the realistic first step to achieve that? Now, that may not even be launching a product yet. That may be my personal strategy is that I'm going to go and do 2-3 years in this role to become an expert in product or a specific area that you want to launch a business in. Second step of your strategy may be, okay, well, how do we now validate that quickly and easily? What's a realistic solution? Well, something like under 5% of companies actually end up raising investment. So there's a 95% chance you won't. Therefore, start bootstrapping. Start with a bootstrap mindset. You can do a lot. What can you do in a specific problem space? If you understand the problem, understand the value that you might be able to create, you will work out how to offer a solution that doesn't require a hugely complex solution. So try that first, try it again, try it again, try it again. If, really you go, shit, we have to build, a really high level solution, a complex solution that requires a cross-functional team, completely fine. If you validated the place, you validated what works, what doesn't work, then, it means you're that much closer to solution. Secondly, that's a good pitch for investment as well. Saying, look how much work we've done in validation. We're not just asking for your money to build a nice, fun tool or a tool that's interesting to build. But great question, Alejandro. Yeah, so I wouldn't say, this is, again, my experience bootstrapping. This is not how every business should be run. Excellent. Alexander, sorry, final comment there was, personally, I like to use minimal testable product, minimal usable product, minimal lovable product. Yeah, there's a lot of M whatevers. As long as it's minimal, that's a way forward. But yeah, interesting. Sorry, Catherine is asking, someone raised their hand. I'm trying to track you down. Bootstrapping. Yep, go ahead. You can, last question before we look at the LinkedIn comments. You'll have to unmute. No? Okay, sorry, I think somebody raised their hand earlier. I'm just gonna disable that. Okay, excellent. So just to wrap up, let us have a look at winners. We've only got 2 posts, that's fine. Right, 1 like, 1 comment from Lila. What do we got, Joseph? Let's see what the competition is here. It's funny, people are always a bit worried about posting on LinkedIn, but you don't have to. Generally, everybody likes engaging with any content on there. Right, Joseph, we're on 0. So I think Lila is therefore the winner. So Lila, I've got you on LinkedIn, I know. So I'm going to send through that copy of my ebook afterwards. And Pasquale, oh, here we go. Here we go. Yeah, Pasquale, yeah, feel free. Just add the link. Well, hold your horses. Hold your horses. Pasquale might have won. Pasquale, what are we on? Let me see what the damage is. We've got. It's like the US election. Pasquale's won. What are you on? You got 3. You got at least 3 comments, 2 likes. Very well done. So Pasquale, you are going to receive. You are going to receive that free copy of the ebook, and as I said, we've got that 1 hour free consultancy, so we can use that as you want. I also have you on. Yeah, at least there you go. At least you've conceded defeat. That's very nice of you. You can go and cause a Twitter storm, Lila, if you want. So chaos in US democracy. That's it. We're going to wrap up there. So thank you very much for joining. Apologies, we ran over by 5 minutes. Pasquale, I'm going to drop you a message now on LinkedIn. I know we are LinkedIn buddies. Hopefully that was interesting. It was nice for me to be able to sort of tell my story. And as I said, I think, it's a mistake to think that the lessons just from bootstrapping a business are not applicable in product role. Like whatever, it is wrong to think that just because you work in a very established product, very mature product, that you don't need to be lean, you don't need to bootstrap it, you don't need to validate every single assumption about who you're working with and what value they want. So use these lessons. It's going to make you more effective, whether you're starting a business, whether you are looking to upskill as a product manager as well. And as I said, feel free to book a call if you're interested in learning more and actually fast-tracking your product career. Thanks so much, guys. Thank you a lot as well for Lila, Joseph, Pasquale, April. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kartik, and everybody else, Callan as well, Max. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much, guys. And I'll send out the replay and a couple of links tomorrow in an email. Have a good evening. Bye.